$300 million for PNG's rural health. Country needs more teachers. And government urged to create market for local farmers.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and welcome to Friday's news. A loan agreement worth 300 million Australian dollars was signed this morning between the PNG government and the Asian Development Bank. The loan agreement is to provide additional financing for rural primary health services throughout the country. The National Capital District, Morobe and Western provinces will be the first to benefit with the establishment of 7 rural hospitals.
3 senior government ministers and representatives from the Asian Development Bank and Australian High Commission were present this morning to witness the final signing of the loan agreement. Prior to signing, Treasurer and Deputy Prime Minister Charles Abel said over the next 5 years, the loan will help finance the construction of rural health services in remote areas of Morobe, NCD and Western.
And it is an 18 million Australian dollar grant, additional financing to the existing arrangement that has a consortium of partners, but particularly concessional financing from the Asian Development Bank and grant financing from the Australian government. Is running the existing program, and this is an extension of it.
The ADB loan is supported by a current grant agreement of 18 million Australian dollars or 57 million kina from the Australian government. The Australian government believes this is an investment to improve health of rural PNG communities.
And it's more than that, it's a recognition that investing in health and better health for PNG is an investment for the economy and for economic growth.
The loan will be facilitated by the Asian Development Bank. Delivering rural health services has been a struggle for the PNG government, but ADB is confident this will improve.
It will involve $300 million in policy-based loan, which is essentially budget support to the government of PNG, and another $95 million in a loan to support expansion of today's ongoing project.
Minister responsible Sepuka Temu says this loan agreement backs the government's priority in the health sector. He says despite health having been given 10% of the 2018 budget, more improvement is needed.
When we do that with the increased funding now we have received for 2018, I believe that for the first time we can provide medicines at the care center when they are needed.
Planning Minister Richard Maro says it is the outcome of this loan which will see the people of PNG benefit. He says the loan complements the service delivery framework established by the Planning Department.
We need to have systems, processes, accounting, audit and system to help support the delivery of health services right throughout the country.
The loan will be facilitated early next year. Jacob Harvard Jr., National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Treasurer Charles Abel says key development partners have been supportive to aid the current shortfalls in the budget. The Treasurer says relevant assistance has been positive, especially with concessional loans and agreements sourced overseas. Despite the public outrage of a decline in the country's economy standing, the O'Neill-Abel government will push to provide and improve basic services throughout the country.
We will be signing an MOU hopefully next week around that, for that financing of 300 million budget support, starting with 100 million in the 2018 budget. And then there's a further 104 million kina program support. So the overall package of that new arrangement is 395 million.
Ambassador Tibor Shlavslosa, Israel ambassador to Papua New Guinea, announced on Tuesday plans for the Israeli government to send 61 medical doctors to serve rural Papua New Guinea in May of 2018. The ambassador also told a small gathering of the business community, faith-based organizations and public service members of his government's intention to continue supporting educational scholarships.
Maybe a bit more, but you are 20 times bigger than us, than Israel.
The Israeli ambassador to Pacific Island states says education was the cornerstone in propping up the Israeli economy. This is one of the areas that the Israeli-Papua New Guinea relationship will focus on. Health and engineering will also be high on their list of technical support opportunities.
All different possible courses from health, IT, agriculture, women empowerment, small business, middle business development, of course, water management, communication systems, food security, water security. All these issues are open for you, and the courses in Israel are free of charge, including accommodation. The problem is, of course, to get there. But we hope that we can also overcome that obstacle.
With the younger governor, Sir Peter Ipatas, leading the way in having students from his province being sponsored for agricultural courses in the last 5 years, other members of parliament like Member for Izivitari, Richard Masere, will also be sending 11 students from his district.
The embassy has offered us a scholarship for 10 students to go down to Israel for 12 months. We've decided that we'll be sending 5 male and 5 female as part of our gender equality to go down and study in Israel in the field of agriculture. And we want those students to come back to Ijivitari at the end of 2018 so that we can be able to inject them into the agriculture area sector. A district health manager, she's got a 2-year scholarship to go down to Israel to get her master's in administration, in health. And she'll go study there for 2 years, and then when she comes back, the knowledge and the expertise again, she'll be able to inject that into our district hospital, and we're looking forward to those progress when she comes back.
Such relationships will see Papua New Guinea strengthen its knowledge base in human resources and technological development. With educational opportunities being provided by the Israeli government, businesses like Israeli Agricultural Business, Innovative Agro Industries, will have a pool of Israeli-trained workers to choose from.
It's primarily in PNG, where we exported to Fiji until a few months back. We had a contract with a Fijian off-taker. Right now, the demand in PNG is such that we don't have the product to export, but we intend to resume export as soon as we can, as soon as we bring on the capacity to meet the local market. Our first priority, primary priority, is always the PNG market, and then looking at exports.
Harry Agimbari, National, MTV News.
Like many rural communities in the country, people from Yanguru South Sea also face various challenges when it comes to having access to clean water, sanitation and hygiene services. Following the signing yesterday between local MP Richard Maru and Oxfam Country Director Anand Das in Port Moresby, they will now access this service to improve living standards. 96 council wards in the district will benefit from this project, which is part of the WASH policy implemented by the national government. You're at National EMTV News. We'll have more after these short messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back. National Education Minister Nick Kuman says progress work for Simbu Polytechnic Institute will continue to ensure this educational institution is established. The delay was with the conduct of this year's national elections.
We are on target to start digging the ground and put some buildings on it. Yes, government funded, provided some funding this year, and provided some funding for next year. We'll put them together, and by the end of next year, we should see all the facilities going up.
Rigo MP Lekwa Gura says societies that place emphasis on education are the most successful, which are also testament to developments. Therefore, Mr. Gura says it's important church leaders are educated to administer Christian faith and other social and welfare services accordingly. This is part of continued evangelization.
Local MP Lekwa Gura was officiating at the 9th graduation of the David Kinney School of Theology and Mission at Kwikila in the Central Province. This is where he highlighted why church leaders are to be educated.
Educated men and women to take up their roles in the ministries and all other spheres of its administration. Postings, promotions, and the like need to be done on merit. Appropriate technology must be employed to modernize its functions and administration.
Mr. Gura also spoke about the 7 pillars of Western wisdom to national development.
But it's made up of real people living in a real world. The church needs educated men and women to take up their roles in the ministries and all other spheres of its administration. Postings, promotions, and the like need to be done on merit. Appropriate technology must be employed to modernize its functions and administration.
Pangu Party leader Sam Basil was also present to support his member.
Honored to be here. As a party leader, I have to also travel into districts of my members of parliament to make sure that we know what's going on, we feel the vibes, and we mingle around with people.
Meanwhile, 27 students graduated and received the certificates in practical ministry and leadership, including theology. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
National Education Minister Nick Kuman says there is still a shortage of teachers in Papua New Guinea and they need 70,000 more teachers to bridge the gaps and reflect the ratio of teacher to a student as outlined in the education plan. Minister Kuman says teacher training is part of the capacity building reform for the Education Department.
Building capacity is a key function of the National Education Department. The partnership with the European Union in training 860 teachers is a component of education reforms.
After they are trained, they are posted back to the rural areas of this country. So I want to thank the European Union for supporting the department, and we have 860 teachers.
Teacher shortage in the country can be blamed for less number of students graduating in secondary schools.
A lot of infrastructures were built, and it's one of the good programs that we've seen improvement, and particularly with the reform that we are going through.
The National Education Secretary says capacity is needed during this reform period.
Capacity is really needed at this point in time. When we talk about reform, we also talk about increasing teachers' numbers. And with my own calculation, with 2 million students in our school system, we need at least 70,000 teachers need to be in the class.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
The caretaker of a newly established tiger prawns hatchery project in Madrid is calling on the government to help locals with technical support. 38-year-old Rudy Terry says locals need technical knowledge to reproduce tiger prawns in order to create a market for them. He says they have spent money in seeking advice from the National Fisheries Authority officials in Madrid, but the process is still slow.
The Tiger Prawns Hatchery project was set up in Malmal village along the north coast of Madrid province. It's a 15-minute drive out of Madrid town. 40-year-old David Kaunumba started this project in 2015 after seeing the demand and the market avenue it can create for locals. This project can also create a revenue source for locals along the north coast of Madrid. Locals depend entirely on the sea for their livelihood, as they don't own the land here.
We've been looking this la struggle where this la place facing, where all the plantations blow. Before this place, we've been got plantations. Okay, after missing only been losing this la plantation go, and no got production more. Our man Mary lo this la place lo benefit more had even solwara too no got some like and good fish or something low market.
Prawns were caught in the night and housed in these tanks. Each tank has 10 tiger prawns. The caretaker, Rudy Terry, daily routine starts with feeding them in the morning and afternoon. He feeds them with plain flour and RD tuna waste. Maintenance work includes making sure the tanks are cleaned every 2 weeks. These prawns are estimated to produce 500,000 if mating is done correctly. Terry says they have done everything required to start off this potentially new project in the province, but they need the technical know-how to make these tiger prawns.
Big problem me facing. Lo side blow, trim lo, meeting all lo bakarim needing one plaga and technical money got good plasave lo display lo can come help me play lo. Line me lo how lo maritime display kingdom.
He believes this project will pave way for locals to start similar projects and help create a revenue source for them.
So go one bla something lo me play by rely lo. No got plantation, no got all farm display or something. Me play live lo, survive lo sea that's all. We plus action fish lo money. And now this la prawns come up. Community blomla lugumo big plus hunting straight.
It also drives the message of climate change and environmental damages that are done to the sea. Through this project, locals are now trying to keep the sea clean by not dumping their waste into the sea. Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3105 US in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.303 US, $0.3995 Australian dollars, $0.2534 euro, and 33.89 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa, and copra all closed the day lower. Palm oil and crude oil closed the day lower, while copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 70.57 points higher, the ASX closed at 16.65 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 16.6 points higher. You're watching Friday's news. We'll be back with more of today's stories after this. Don't go away. Welcome back to the news. South Bougainville MP Timothy Messiu had asked the National Parliament to explain the autonomy arrangements on the NID system. He asked the National Planning Minister Richard Maru to clarify.
I want to ask some clarity whether Bougainvilleans are required to register under the PNG NID program in spite of the referendum in 2019, or is Bougainville a special case and will be exempted?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As far as our government is concerned, Bougainville continues to be an integral part of Papua New Guinea, and they will be issued with national IDs.
With housing being a major problem in main cities like Port Moresby and Lae, some real estate companies are actually reducing cost, making housing affordable. One of them is Edai Town Development Limited. The company has been working closely with commercial banks on the home ownership scheme. Fabian Hakelitz looks at the housing business and opportunities provided by Edai Town Development Limited.
There's a Greater London, there's a Greater Moresby.
This is Edai Town, located just outside of Port Moresby. It sits on a piece of land of 155 hectares, managed by Edai Town Development Limited.
Housing problem, we have been here for a while. It's acute. Papua New Guineans cannot afford to get into those houses there in the city. They're just too expensive. And we're trying to do something new. So we said, forget about the city pricing. We will build houses and see whether we can make them affordable.
The company has achieved its affordable home concept through the first home ownership scheme.
And most of them come into Edai Town buying their first home. So they have been funded by the BSP First Home Ownership Scheme. That is an initiative between the national government and BSP. And this is really something fantastic for Papua New Guinea because the home loan that BSP offers is between 200,000 to 400,000, which means that this is the affordable range.
There are different ranges of houses to choose from.
This home for affordability is outfitted. So you don't have to worry to go and buy this and that and the other. You can shift in with what we say 36,000 equity. The house is not 36,000. The house is about 360,000, fully outfitted. But you put in 36,000, which is 10%, and BSP can fund 90% of that house value. And it comes with the house and land, and a little bit of garden at the back, and a little bit of frontage. If you pay a little bit more, you can get to some more land, but at the entry level, that's what is affordable.
It's anticipated by 2018 there will be 2,000 units built in phases. Phase 1 with 161 homes and Phase 2 with 146 homes.
And that will be by the sometime end of 2018. We already started building, which means from the first quarter of 2018, these guys who are buying the Phase 2 homes, they will start shifting in progressively, and they should take up possession before the next Christmas.
With affordable homes, you will enjoy the luxury and comfort of your home.
But the employers are also helping because they have the employer assistance, whereby they help towards the equity. And also on the Nest Fund and the number 1 super, when you contribute, there is a portion that you can withdraw for housing. And so that all helps with the equity. So the trick is to get how to get the 36,000.
For Papua New Guinea or the PNG citizens to apply for homes, and if they are interested, the borrowing capacity, if they have debt, they can apply through BSP. Maximum to borrow is 400,000 with a very low interest rate, that's 4%. They can apply for. We have flexible repayment amounts, so they can, the customers or PNG citizens, those who are employed, they can come through to BSP to apply for a loan to purchase a home or either a vacant land. And
Every town takes a holistic approach under its community service obligation. There are plans to build education infrastructure and also assist surrounding villages.
No gate that says this you're on this side or that side. And this is becoming, it will very quickly become a suburb of Port Moresby. At the moment, what we do is we know the people who live here, there's not many jobs around here other than the LNG project. So we shuttle them into the city in the morning to go to work. And in the evenings, they come back. And on Saturdays, if there are people who go to work on Saturdays, we shuttle them. Those who don't work, they can take that bus and go in and do their shopping and come back.
With more Papua New Guineans showing interest in owning their own homes, there's also a need for more education on the country's housing benefits tax. This was a point raised during a stakeholder engagement by National Research Institute following a study into the public perception about recent changes in housing benefit tax in PNG. The final report is expected to be completed and released early next year.
Views. Some people think it's a good thing to do, and I think just because maybe they look at the housing, that some people have houses, some don't. So those who don't have probably would say tax them, tax those who have. But of course those who have it will have expressed their view that they're not really for it. In fact, they're asking for more concessions to be given.
Paying a marginal tax rate on 150 kina. So the difference between Australia and here, in Australia, 1,000 kina, you would be paying, if you've got a marginal rate of 35%, you would be paying 350 kina tax. Here, with the benefit, you're paying 35 kina tax.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Former Usino Bundi MP Anthony Yagama has welcomed the decision to allow for audits into the district's books. Mr. Yagama told EMTV News his leadership has no cloud cover and says all decisions made were guided by the District Development Authority. He was responding to recent actions by current MP Jimmy Gura to conduct an audit, which he said is unbecoming of a mandated leader.
What the member should have done in his wisdom is say, look, the machines are there, Bundi LLC, you got a road that needs to be maintained, I will fund it, and the machinery can work there. You know, rather than trying to drag it out, and where does he want to put it to? Bundi LLC is part of Usino Bundi electorate. And I have documents, evidence on file to prove that. But see, I am not the type who will go out and do vindictive things. No. I'm a God-fearing man, so I don't go around, throwing stones at people. Okay, but if he pushes me, he'll retaliate. He'll get it. Justice will be done.
I'm also a leader from the village, and I'm calling upon him to make sure that he must do that right thing, sir. Before he put Usino Bundi into mess, and eventually we end up having problems along the way.
You're watching National EMTV News. We have the day's news and sports in Chukai Sports up next.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. To Powerlifting, Oceania Championship and Pacific Invitational 2017 saw day 2 of competition in the Open Men and Women's and Men's Masters events. Papua New Guinea was represented by Livingston Sikoli, who took part in the Masters 1 bench press event. The event saw a Masters 4 record broken and a new world record. Godwin Eki with this report from Singapore.
Livingstone Sikoli, who won gold in Brisbane this year, was the first to lift the bar for PNG in the Men's Master 1 bench press event. Sikolo's first bench press was very impressive as he lifted 140 kilograms successfully.
Press! Back!
His second press was almost getting it right, was regarded no lift. Sikolo's third and final bench press was also unsuccessful. Also during the event, a Masters 4 record was broken by 76-year-old from Australia, John David, lifting 125 kilograms.
When I'm with me, been training long and me at least like kiss him now, feel confident long. With me, kiss him straight long. Next sleep, me look him not lift time. Come start light legally long and so me feeling more by mix him this finish now me go confident finish lo my area. Start lift him second one we fail long and same weight and me lift him long. Third lift but me walk him some by adjustment now me lift but legally technical error at all. Walk him now give me red light.
Also Japan's Donkey Kodama also broke the current world record. Meanwhile, it was a fight between Australia, Japan and New Zealand, while Nauru had all their bars lifted at each round. All eyes tomorrow here at the Oceania Championships and Pacific Invitational 2017 Singapore will be on PNG's very own world powerlifting icon Linda Paulsen, who will be competing in the women's under 72 kilograms. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports, Singapore.
The PNG Games is one of the country's major sporting events, the 7th recently hosted by West New Britain Province after 2 deferrals. 16 of the 22 teams competed across 21 sporting codes on offer. This 7th PNG Games even hosted the 2018 Commonwealth Games Queen's Baton at its closing ceremony.
The Games got off to a slow start with only one code, hockey, that kick-started the competition. The 8 other codes that were scheduled for that day did not go as planned due to late arrival of teams, as well as some venues were still undergoing finishing touches. Nevertheless, the Games gained momentum on the third day. In an interview with MTV Sports on the Games highlight show, 7 PNG Games Sports Director John Susuve spoke of the late start.
We had a slow start. We were lucky that our national federations, our provincial teams, they also had the issues of people coming in late from the provinces. We had national federation technical officials coming in late, delayed by the airlines. So it also contributed towards that, but particularly with the venues, it also had a lot of pushback. So, but all in all, we got it underway with hockey taking up the first part of the games. So towards the end of the day, teams started progressing well.
But the competition duration was not affected as the host organizing team worked around the clock to be close to schedule as much as possible. By the end of the first week of this 2-week event, triathlon, touch footy, rugby nines, AFL, volleyball, softball, parasport and beach volleyball had already stirred people's interest as teams who were not favorites prior to the Games made their marks. Provinces like host West New Britain, Central and even Mumbai proved strong with remarkable performances in beach volleyball, cricket, weightlifting and even rugby nines. Despite the non-usage of some of the facilities that were built for the Games due to inaccessibility, some codes shared the same venue, especially the Bougainville Stadium grounds. The second week came with its challenges, but that did not hinder competitions as weightlifting and kickboxing concluded last Tuesday, giving way to powerlifting, which saw an Oceania record smashed as NCD's Dika Igo outdid New Zealand's Melissa Tikio's 2015 Pacific Games record of 130 kg by 10 kgs, and setting a very high PNG Games record in the process. And to give a finishing flair to the Games, the closing ceremony coincided with the 2018 Commonwealth Games Queen's Baton's arrival at the Bougainville Stadium. Kimber for the first time not only hosted the nation's biggest sporting event, but also had the honor of relaying Her Majesty's baton. And that is a story that will surely be talked about in the township for a long time. Dina Rose Rico, National MTV Sports.
We'll be back with more of Trukai Sports in just a few minutes. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Cricket fans have been enjoying their last couple of weeks against their oldest rivals in the Ashes series down under. It's another defeat for England as Australia leads the series.
Now on Wednesday, England started the final day full of hope. A fight back looked to be on. All that was needed was the magic 178 runs. Easy enough, you'd think, but they fell short, losing by 120. Joe Root didn't add to his tally of 67. Mitchell Starc had an okay day, taking 5 for 88, giving the Aussies a boost in the end. Australia looking set to regain that tiny Ashes urn on home soil, no less. Well, England are almost at the point of no return. The Australians will win back the Ashes if they win the third test in Perth, some 1,500 miles away. That one starts in mid-December, and to make matters worse for the English, they haven't actually won at the Wacker since 1978.
Real Madrid in action is well bid once again, with the star striker Cristiano Ronaldo grabbing all headlines. It's another Champions League record.
For Cristiano Ronaldo, the forward becomes the first player in history to score in all 6 match days of a Champions League group, CR7, looking absolutely unstoppable right now.
And now an update for the FIFA Club World Cup.
You're going to be proud of me on this, Dabby.
Yalla, let's go.
Go. Come on, Dabby. Come on, Ali. The countdown is on.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
A young country with even younger football history, getting ready to host some of the world's top clubs.
Come on, Becky. Come on, Becky. Come on, Debbie. You can do it. You can do more speed. More speed. Come on. Come on.
The UAE's best male goalkeeper excited at the prospect of facing off with some of the game's greatest at this year's FIFA Club World Cup.
You could be playing Real Madrid, which means Ronaldo bearing down on you. How worried are you?
Any team wishes to play against Real Madrid, against stars of this caliber. Initially, we're just thinking about the first match.
But that enthusiasm doesn't necessarily translate into ticket sales here in the Gulf, something the organisers are trying to tackle. This mobile roadshow, consisting of 12 skill games and 6 social experiences, has travelled to 75 locations.
Becky, you are ready for the challenge?
Yalla, Horia!
Yes.
Let's do it! Go!
The goal? To promote the culture around football and challenging fans across all ages and genders.
We're going to make it difficult. You chip it. Okay, let's do this.
Always when man and woman work together, it's better.
Wise words from the first woman to receive a professional coaching licence in the Arab world. Horia, just how far has women's football come in the UAE?
Actually, women's football started in UAE in 2009. Now we have 2,300 players. And that's why I'm working in this now, to give this opportunity to other generation.
A strategy that seems to be paying off.
So how are we doing?
As the beautiful game continues to reach new fans across the Gulf,
Doha!
Empowering more and more women.
I'm out of here.
Along the way.
The Olympic Sports Federation and their athletes will meet on Tuesday to decide whether or not to accept the International Olympic Committee's ruling and compete under a neutral flag. Their meeting follows the President Vladimir Putin's call, and not boycott will be enforced.
Most of the accusations are based on facts that have not been proven and are largely unfounded. They are mainly based on the testimonies of a person whose moral and ethical attitudes and psychological state raise many questions. There is nothing else. Without any doubt, we will not declare a blockade of any sort. We will not prevent our Olympians from taking part if any of them wants to participate in a personal capacity.
And that's it for True Kai Sports. Up next, the weather details.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Weather forecast for tonight in the southern region: thundery showers in Port Moresby and Kerma, fine weather in Daru, and showers and thunderstorms in Popondetta and Alatau. In the Momase region, showers and thunderstorms in Wewak and Vanimo, a shower or two in Medang, and thundery showers in Lae. In the New Guinea Islands region, squally showers and thunderstorms in Lorengau, showers and thunderstorms in Kavieng, Kimbe, Kokopo and Rabaul, and thundery showers in Buka. And in the Highlands region, brief thundery showers, then morning fog in all centres.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And that's the news, sports and weather for today, Friday, the 8th of December 2017. On behalf of the EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.